we are supposed to use logarithm tables to evaluate the square root. Now I've decided to use this table to assist me in calculation. Under the number column, I will write this number here. Then under logarithms, I will have to read this number from the table. Now starting with the characteristic, we realize we have to move the decimal from here to here so that we can read the number from the table. And by so doing, we realize that the characteristic is 3. Then we read 1276 from the logarithm table. Here is an extract of that table. So the first 2 digits, that's 1.2, sorry, 1, 2 will be read from this column here. So you realize it's here, 1.2. Then 7 will be read here. Our 7 is here. So move down as we move across from 1.2 and you realize the number is this one here. And then we need to read 6. So we look for 6 here and you realize it's here. So move down to the point of intersection with 1.2. You realize that in this section we have 2 rows pertaining to 1.2. There is this row for the upper one, and then there is this other row here. So because this number we have read is from the lower row of these 2 rows for 1.2, it means this side here we shall also read it from the lower side. That gives us 20. So that means the mantissa will be 0.1038 plus 0.0020, and that gives us 0.1058, like that. Because we are looking for the square root, we shall have to divide this logarithm by 2. If we were looking for the cube root, we could have divided here by 3. But now we are looking for a square root, and therefore we have to divide this by 2. Now there is another problem here. You realize the characteristic has a negative, or it's a negative number. That's why we have this bar on top here. We cannot divide it in the state it is unless this number, the characteristic, is a multiple of 2. Now that we know 3 cannot be divided by 2, we have to borrow something from here so that we make it a number divisible by 2. So in this case, we shall borrow 1 from here so that the new number will now be bar 4. Remember, this is already a negative number, and when you borrow something from it again, it becomes even smaller. That's why we have borrowed 1 from it. It now changes to bar 4. That one we have borrowed, we shall have we come and add it here. So we shall have this one look like bar 4 from the fact that we have borrowed 1 from here, and then plus we take the one we have borrowed from here, add it to this. Remember this man, this is 0.1058. When we add 1 that we had borrowed from here, it becomes 1.1058. And the reason for that is that what we have borrowed from here is a whole number. That's why we add it here. Then we divide this now, this new number, by 2, the 2 we have here. In this case, this 2 we divide this twice. Sorry, negative 4 divided by 2 will give you negative 2. Negative 4 divided by 2 will give you negative 2. And then plus 1.1058 divided by 2 gives us 0.5529. So this is the characteristic, which is negative 2 or bar 2. And then there is the mantissa, which is 0.5529. Now when we join them as we usually do, like in this case here, the number will now be bar 2.5529. So that means the square root for this number here is a certain number which we don't know, but we know its logarithm is bar 2.5529. So the next thing we do is to get the nth log for that. And when we are writing the nth log, we know is written in standard form, so it's something times 10 raised to power negative 2. Why negative 2? Because this characteristic here takes the power of 2, or the power of 10. And since it's bar 2 means negative 2, so it means this 10 will have negative 2. And then we read this one from the anti-logarithm table. I have an extract for anti-logarithm table here. Here it is. So we are looking for 0.5529. 0.5529. We are looking for 0.5529. So 0.55 is here. Then look for 2 here. You realize it's here. So the intersection of that gives us 3.565, this number here. And then we read 9. So look for 9 here. You realize it's here. Move down to the point of intersection with 0.55, you will read this number 7. So when you add them, it will be 3.572. And that's what I've written here. Now, if you could want to write it in normal notation, the normal number, it means the number will be 0.03572. So that is the square root for 0.001276. Thank you.